Hello everyone, how are you all? In this very special lecture series of Indian Penal Code, I, Manmohan Joshi, welcome you. Today we are taking up an interesting topic of criminal law, which is known as criminal conspiracy. It is also an essential topic in Indian Penal Code 1860. In today's lecture, I am going to let you know what criminal conspiracy means, what conspiracy is, what are the special or essential ingredients of conspiracy, and what is the punishment prescribed by IPC for conspiring for an offense. So let's start today's lecture. So my dear friends, the word conspiracy means breathing together. The term conspiracy actually means an act of making secret plan by one or more persons with another or others, especially with a view to do something wrong. A conspiracy means nothing more than a combination and agreement by persons to do some illegal act or acts. Halsbury's Law of England explained the concept of conspiracy as conspiracy consists in the agreement of two or more persons to do an unlawful act or to do a lawful act by unlawful means. It is an inevitable offense of common law, the punishment for which is imprisonment or fine or both at the discretion of the court. English law defines conspiracy as an agreement of two or more persons to do an illegal act or legal act by illegal means. In Indian Penal Code, Section 128 defines criminal conspiracy, which reads as follows. When two or more persons agree to do or cause to be done, number one, an illegal act, and number two, an act which is not itself illegal by illegal means. Such an agreement is designated as a criminal conspiracy, provided that no agreement except an agreement to commit an offense shall amount to a criminal conspiracy unless some act besides the agreement is done by one or more parties to such agreement in pursuance thereof. There is an explanation attached to the particular definition which says it is immaterial whether the illegal act is the ultimate object of such agreement or is merely incidental to that particular object. Section 120A and 120B were inserted in Indian Penal Code by Criminal Law Amendment Act 1913 with a view to make criminal conspiracy a substantive offense. Section 128 defines the offense and Section 120B provides punishment for the particular offense. Let me tell you that originally the 1860 code contained only two provisions by which conspiracy was made punishable. Number one, conspiracy by way of abetment, which is provided in Section 107, and conspiracy involved in certain offenses as for example, number one is thug, Section 310 in IPC provided, gang of dacoits, Section 400, gang of thieves, Section 401. These are some examples where conspiracy was punishable before the amendment. Let me quote a case to explain you what I am saying. The case is Malkabi versus R, 1860. It was ruled that a conspiracy consists not merely in the intention of two or more, but in the agreement of two or more to do an unlawful act or to do a lawful act by unlawful means, so long as such a design rests in intention only, it is not at all indictable. When two persons agree to carry it into effect, the very plot is an act in itself, and the act of each of the parties, promise against promise, actus contra actum, which says capable of being enforced it lawful, punishable if for a criminal object or for the use of the criminal means. This judgment introduced in English common law the principle that a mere agreement of two or more persons to do an unlawful act or a lawful act by unlawful means was sufficient to attract liability under conspiracy, even if no specific overt act had been committed. After this judgment, the Indian Penal Code 1860 was amended in 1870 by inserting section 121A to assimilate the law of criminal conspiracy in India with that of England. The Indian Criminal Law Amendment Act 1913 added Chapter 5A with two sections, Section 120A and 120B. With the inclusion of these two sections, the Indian Penal Code now encompasses the law relating to conspiracy to cover the following. Please note it down. Number 1, conspiracy as a substantive offense. Chapter 5A, Section 120A and 120B provides this. And second one is conspiracy as a form of abetment. Chapter 5, Section 107, secondly provides this. And third one is conspiracy to wage attempt to or abet war against the government of India. It is in Chapter 6, Section 121A. And very importantly, involvement in specific offenses. Like I have already given you the examples, Section 310, Section 311, Section 400, 401, 402, number of sections are there. And the fifth one is abetment by conspiracy, which is also provided in Section 108, fifth illustration. Now, what are the essential elements of conspiracy? Let me tell you that to constitute a criminal conspiracy, some essential things are required, which must be satisfied. Number 1, there must be an agreement between the persons who are alleged to conspire. Means more than one person is required. The second one is the agreement should be, number 1, for doing an illegal act. Means to commit an offense, or for doing any legal act by illegal means, which may not itself be illegal or which is not an offense. In Tapan Das versus State of Bombay 1955, it was held that there must be two or more persons and one person alone can never be held guilty of criminal conspiracy. You must note down this. So the essential element of the conspiracy is meeting of minds. In Keher Singh case versus State of Delhi, it was held that meeting of mind means agreement is the essence of conspiracy. If there is no meeting of mind, if there is no agreement, there cannot be any conspiracy. And this view was approved by Supreme Court in one other case, that is Hardhan Chakravarti versus Union of India in 1990. There is another case I remember, CBI versus VC Shukla in 1998. The prosecutor could not prove that one of the two accused was party to conspiracy, and therefore it was held that the charge of criminal conspiracy cannot stand against other accused. As in a conspiracy, there must be two parties or two persons. The Honorable Apex Court distinguished Tapan Das case and held that it is not essential that more than one person should be convicted of the offense of conspiracy. It is enough in the court is in a position to find that two or more persons were actually concerned in the criminal conspiracy. If it is proved that two or more persons engaged in conspiracy, although they could not be caught, or one alone may be convicted. As I told you about Keher Singh versus State, in this case, Honorable Apex Court held that it is essential that the offense of conspiracy requires some kind of physical manifestation of agreement. The express agreement or actual meeting of two or more persons or proof of actual words of communication is not necessary to prove the offense of conspiracy. So friends, I hope with my explanation, you have better understanding what criminal conspiracy means, what conspiring means, and what are the actual essential ingredient of criminal conspiracy. Now let us discuss what is the punishment prescribed by IPC section 120B for criminal conspiracy. So for your information, section 120B of IPC makes provision for punishment of the conspiracy as you are aware now. In case conspiracy is to commit an offense which is punishable with death or imprisonment for life or rigorous imprisonment for a term of 2 years or more, and no specific punishment for the same is provided for under the code, the conspirators shall be punishable as abettor. In other cases, the conspirators are punishable with imprisonment for a term not more than 6 months or fine or with both. In a recent case, State of Kerala versus R. Sugathan and others in the year 2000, the Honorable Apex Court held that criminal conspiracy can be established on the basis of circumstantial evidence. Please note it down. So now the question arises, what are the different ways of proving conspiracy? So the essence of conspiracy is that there should be an agreement, as I told you, and the agreement should be in between two or more persons. The said agreement may be proved by direct evidence or may be inferred from acts and conduct of the parties. There is no difference between the mode of proof of the offense of conspiracy and that of any other offense. It can be established by direct evidence or by circumstantial evidence. But Section 10 of the Indian Evidence Act introduces the doctrine of agency, and if the conditions laid down therein are satisfied, the act done by one is admissible against the co-conspirators. A question regarding the active participation of conspirators in the commission of each and every one of the conspiratorial act is often raised for the constitution of the offense of conspiracy. And this question was finally settled in the state of Haryana versus Krishna Lal in the year 1987. In this particular case, it was held that whenever, in pursuance of a criminal conspiracy, the conspirators commit several offenses, then all of them will be liable for the offenses even if some of them had not actively participated in the particular offense or the commission of the particular offense. So my dear friends, after this lecture, I hope you have a better understanding of the particular topic that is known as criminal conspiracy. You are aware with certain case laws which are very important to understand the criminal conspiracy as well as for exam point of view. These questions, these case laws are frequently asked in various examinations. Stay connected, clear your concepts. Have a nice time.